The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998. Live from the PWR studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is the Pro Wrestling Report Post Show on Blog Talk Radio with your host, Damian Nelson.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report. We are live here on Blog Talk Radio, coming off the heels of WWE TLC on pay-per-view. Damian Nelson coming to you here from actually live in New York City, where I've been all weekend and watched the pay-per-view WWE TLC, which was from Baltimore tonight, and was very surprised by a lot of the results and a lot of the stuff that happened on the pay-per-view, including two title changes tonight. One of them will come as a huge surprise to you. We're going to be joined by David Hero in just a minute, who is live at Karma Bar and Grill with Billy Gunn, where PWR hosted a viewing party tonight. But we're going to be taking your phone calls as well. The number 347-996-5278. Again, that's 347-996-5278. We're also talking here on Blog Talk Radio in the chat room. Hundreds of you right now in the chat room on Blog Talk Radio. Go out ahead and join in and join the conversation, not only there, but also on Twitter. We're on Twitter at PWR Show. On Twitter is our name, at PWR Show. And then also on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk about tonight's WWE TLC on pay-per-view. A lot of people saying it was going to be a sleeper pay-per-view, and apparently it did deliver in many of your minds. Tonight, a brand new World Heavyweight Champion is crowned not once, but twice. Obviously, going into the pay-per-view, it was a matchup between Mark Henry and The Big Show. Well, The Big Show defeats Mark Henry, becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion, and then the man who said he would not wait till WrestleMania, as he had previously stated to cash in Money in the Bank, did so tonight in Baltimore at TLC and became the new World Heavyweight Champion. Congratulations to Daniel Bryan, who is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, I've been crystal clear in saying I firmly believed that Mark Henry should be the world champion going all the way into WrestleMania. I think we've got some time to potentially get back to that point, because at this point in time, while I am happy for him and definitely elated that it happened tonight on pay-per-view, I don't know if I see Daniel Bryan in that spot at the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania in Miami, with the World Heavyweight Championship. For me, from my standpoint, that is definitely a spot that should be with Mark Henry. But we'll see what happens. And a pleasant surprise here tonight on the final pay-per-view from WWE, where Daniel Bryan is the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That wasn't the only title to change hands tonight, because there was another title change, but it was not the WWE Championship. CM Punk retains the championship in strong fashion over both The Miz and Alberto Del Rio, and the real victim in this matchup apparently was Ricardo Rodriguez, who just took an amazing beating tonight in that matchup. But here is what is significant and what a lot of people are realizing and pointing out. Tonight, and coming out of this pay-per-view tonight, the WWE Champion is CM Punk. The World Heavyweight Champion is Daniel Bryan. Two men who were born and bred and cultivated in Ring of Honor wrestling are now in the two top spots in World Wrestling Entertainment. That is monumental. And I tell you this, you call it shilling, you call it begging, you call it whatever, but if you are not doing yourself a favor as a wrestling fan and watching Ring of Honor wrestling, then you need to start, because that's where those two came from, not some more than 5 years ago or so, both on top of their game in Ring of Honor wrestling, now both on top of the game in all of wrestling and in World Wrestling Entertainment. Congratulations go out to Daniel Bryan again and CM Punk, the WWE and World Heavyweight Champions. Also tonight, another title changing hands, as we talked about earlier. The new United States Champion, ladies and gentlemen, is Zack Ryder. Woo, woo, woo. I guess now we all know it. because the Long Island IC walked in and took the United States Championship from Dolph Ziggler tonight. Here is what I find very interesting about that. The United States Championship was the centerpiece in this whole feud between Ryder and Ziggler. The United States Championship, call it 7-8 months ago, was irrelevant. You almost had to ask yourself who the champion was. You got to give props to Dolph Ziggler, who is endorsed, by the way. You got to give props to Dolph Ziggler for stepping up and making that title important again. He did it, and this feud did it. And now Zack Ryder having it does it further, and you got to think that this is definitely not over between these two, definitely not over between Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler. Zack Ryder, the new United States champion tonight. A shocker for me. I did not think they would go that route, if you will, because this was the first real matchup between the two, but I guess the drama of building to that match over the course of the last few weeks paid off tonight for Zack Ryder, the Long Island IZ, who got one of the biggest reactions of the night in the pay-per-view, winning and becoming the United States champion. Another newsworthy item tonight, there was a certain person who was nowhere to be seen at the pay-per-view tonight. He wasn't booked on it, so I guess we shouldn't have expected him, but it's been a long time since it was a Cena-free night on WWE pay-per-view, and John Cena would not make an appearance on the pay-per-view TLC tonight from Baltimore, and a lot of fans are saying they didn't necessarily miss him. There were many more matches on the card tonight from WWE TLC in Baltimore. We're going to talk about all those matches, give you a complete and full rundown of all that happened, but we want to make sure you guys don't miss out on the opportunity to never miss an episode of the Pro Wrestling Report by following us right here on Blog Talk Radio. A couple of bonus matches tonight as we talk about WWE TLC on pay-per-view. Bonus matches, one of them for the WWE Tag Team Championship as Air Boom, Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston, team up to take on Epico and Primo with Rosa Mendez. Air Boom winning that matchup in just over 7 minutes. They keep their tag team titles, and this was a match, I guess, to let the Zack Ryder win sink in, but a good tag team outing nonetheless, and I would want to hope that much like the United States Championship has gotten some importance and significance over the last few months, maybe the tag team titles will once again raise to prominence in WWE. Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. It was a tables match, and this one going just about 10 minutes long. RKO gets the win with the RKO, and that matchup, I'm sure that feud will continue. The match was a definite brawl, but Barrett was pretty much in charge for a good portion of the matchup, and some would have expected during that match that Barrett would have been the one with the barrage and winning that match. Again, I definitely do not think this one is over. It was yet another contest between Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly for the Divas Championship. Beth Phoenix retaining the championship in around 5 minutes' time for that matchup. Booker T versus Cody Rhodes was advertised. However, Cody Rhodes would get the best of Booker T again and attacks Booker T. It seems as if the match is off. However, we would have that matchup later on, and it would be for the Intercontinental Championship. But before that, it was a Sledgehammer ladder match between Triple H and Kevin Nash. This one going nearly 20 minutes, and it was a brawl between the two. And as David Hero pointed out on Twitter earlier, it was a fight. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H, does win that matchup, and this match definitely had its place on the pay-per-view, and I think added to the overall flavor of tables, ladders, and chairs. Another added matchup was Sheamus versus Jack Swagger. Swagger with Vicky Guerrero, of course. This one would go to Sheamus, and it was, again, another good showing for Sheamus. And the focus on both Swagger and Sheamus is definitely there. This match, good on the card as well. Again, this overall card, I think, delivered tonight, and this match was another contributor to that. As I said, it was it was Cody Rhodes versus Booker T for the Intercontinental Championship, and it only took Cody about 7 minutes to keep his hands on the Intercontinental Championship, and much like Dolph Ziggler, Cody Rhodes is endorsed. And here's one thing to note. Much like I said about Dolph Ziggler earlier on, Cody Rhodes has also given significance to the Intercontinental Championship. It's subtle, but it's happened over the last few months with both those mid-level talents and mid-level championships in WWE. We've been given more emphasis on those titles. They now mean more than they did before those two men held them. Like them, love them, or hate them, both Dolph Ziggler and Cody Rhodes and the focus of the company have given more prestige to those titles that had fallen by the wayside, that are historical titles in the annals of time in professional wrestling. Cody Rhodes retains the Intercontinental Championship and defeats Booker T. As I said, we're going to be taking your phone calls, ladies and gentlemen. We're going till about 10:30 p.m. Central Time tonight, but don't fret. 2 full hours tomorrow night right here on Blog Talk Radio, and you got to imagine the main topic of conversation will be WWE TLC, the new World Heavyweight Champion, the new United States Champion, a significant pay-per-view, one that I don't think anyone really thought would have any significance, but a significant pay-per-view tonight from WWE. All right, we're going to go to the phones as we've talked about the card. Now it's time to hear what you thought about the cards. Again, in the interest of time, I want you to go ahead and go with your name and the city you're calling from, then state your question or comment, and move right along so that we can get to as many people as we can. And if we don't get to you tonight, again, don't fret, because we are live right here on Blog Talk Radio again tomorrow night, 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, talking all about WWE TLC and, of course, tomorrow night's Raw as well, so you don't want to miss it. We're going to take a brief time out. When we come back, we're going to be joined by David Octavius of Tiberius, the alleged one-time Backyard Female Wrestling Hall of Fame Divas Champion hero, and your phone calls. This is the Pro Wrestling Report post-show for WWE TLC live on Blog Talk Radio.
From the PWR studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is the Pro Wrestling Report Post Show on Blog Talk Radio with your host, Damian Nelson.
Welcome back to the Post Show here for WWE TLC. This is Damian Nelson calling you from a remote location. Actually, I'm from New York City, actually calling you right from steps away from Times Square here at my hotel. Going to be back in town tomorrow, but tonight we all were able to catch WWE TLC on pay-per-view. We're going to be joined by David Hero in just a minute. He's currently hanging with Billy Gunn, who was our guest at Karma Bar and Grill in downtown Milwaukee for the pay-per-view viewing party. I want to thank all the great southeastern Wisconsin fans for joining us at Karma tonight. And we'll do it all again for the Royal Rumble. But this time it's going to be back at the largest television screen in the Midwest. That's going to be at the Horny Goat Hideaway. And a big wrestling show preceding the Royal Rumble on January 29th. You're going to be able to watch the Royal Rumble with Robbie E., Rhino, and Scotty 2 Hotty, and just added Gorgeous George, formerly of WCW. All that information right now at pwrshow.com. But WWE TLC tonight, a brand new World Heavyweight Champion in Daniel Bryan, a brand new United States Champion in Zack Ryder, and CM Punk retains the WWE Championship. All right, we're going to get to the phones. And again, remember, please tell us your name and the city you're calling from. We'll go ahead and let you go on with your question or comment, and then please allow us to move on to the next caller so we can get as many people in as possible. Let's first go to a caller calling us from the 913 area code. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, caller from the 913. All right, let's try another caller from the 517. Caller from the 517, you're live.
Hey, Damian, this is Eric from Coldwater, Michigan, and I was wondering if possibly you saw the DHHS sign.
You know, I did, and I also saw the charge on the corporate Amex that David Hero paid somebody off to have that sign put up there in Baltimore. You know, PWR is truly worldwide, and we got to thank all our great fans who are all over the place, including you, Eric, in Michigan. And we definitely encourage you to bring your signs to events, whatever you so choose. But we always love it when we do see those PWR signs in the crowd. And yes, indeed, in case you saw it on pay-per-view tonight, there was a DHHS sign at TLC. Even though, I don't know if you noticed, Eric, there was no DHHS moment on this past week to be the booker for this pay-per-view. I found that kind of ironic.
That is kind of ironic in a way, but I mean, this has been such a great night, I don't think it matters. I mean, we just figured out about a little less than an hour ago that Kim Jong-il has been pronounced dead, and on top of that, we just had one of the best pay-per-views since Money in the Bank this year, and honestly, I think Money in the Bank was the top of the year, but this was definitely something to behold, and another one of those very memorable pay-per-views.
Yes, indeed it was, Eric. Thank you very much for that call from Michigan. And when you talk about good pay-per-views this year from WWE, you always got to talk about Money in the Bank. TLC is being discussed a lot about it tonight, about it being one of those pay-per-views. And we'll see how it all falls out after all the euphoria, I guess you can call it, dies down from the big win tonight by Daniel Bryan of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Let's continue on the phones. I want to thank Eric from Michigan for calling in. Let's continue on the phones now. Go to a caller calling us from the 303 area code. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Damien, this is Ryan from Denver, Colorado.
Hello, Ryan from Denver. What are your thoughts on the pay-per-view tonight?
The pay-per-view I thought was Hasmark tremendous.
We like it. We like that Twitter talk.
But I do have a question for you, Damien, since you're a huge Cody fan.
Yes?
Hello? Oh, how long do you think Cody's going to be the IC champ?
Well, Ryan, I wish I could answer that question. It was October, I believe, at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where the brand new championship was introduced. And, I don't know. Can he carry it through WrestleMania? I'm surprised Dolph Ziggler dropped it this soon, to be honest with you, because I think there was more steam in Zack Ryder chasing after Dolph Ziggler to get the championship than Zack Ryder having the championship. And I said this on this past Monday's radio show. I'm still waiting for Zack Ryder to completely prove to me, as Dolph Ziggler has done, how great he is in the ring. Time will tell if that were to happen, but you can't deny the fans' reaction to Zack Ryder tonight, and well-deserved for him on this night at that place in that time to become the new WWE United States Champion. Thank you, Ryan from Denver, for that phone call. Let's continue now on the phone lines. Let's go to a caller from the 318 area code. Caller, your name and city, please.
Hey, this is Will from Louisiana, and I just want to say that I'm looking at a picture on Twitter, and it's CM Punk with the WWE title. It's Daniel Bryan with the World Heavyweight title side by side. And also think about Daniel Bryan. I'm thinking how hard these three guys have worked to get to this point. Whatever anybody else's opinions are, you cannot deny that these guys have worked this hard to attain these goals, and congratulations to all three men.
Congratulations, definitely deserved. Thank you very much for that call, Will from Louisiana. And we did just retweet CM Punk's tweet where he did send out that picture. And you got to think, if you're a CM Punk and you are a Daniel Bryan, how great this must feel. And if you're a Ring of Honor, how great this must feel. And, of course, most of you have the opportunity to watch Ring of Honor in your cities on weekends on television, or if not, you can watch it at Ring of Honor Wrestling.com. And it's not WWE, it's not even TNA as far as production goes, but that's where these guys came from, Ring of Honor. And now you have the champion in Davey Richards, you have Eddie Edwards, you have Roderick Strong, you have so many great talents in Ring of Honor, talents that maybe it's better that you don't know who they are as far as the masses go, because then you become more interested in them perhaps when they do make it up to that roster in WWE. And on this night tonight, again, Daniel Bryan, a guy who had been fired after coming into WWE, a guy who had been frustrated in WWE because of his lack of focus, or the lack of focus they were putting on him. And you look at a CM Punk who's been very vocal about his feelings on WWE. These are two very different people. Two very different people who now hold the gold in WWE on either side of the brands, both Raw and SmackDown. As I said, it is a monumental night for not only those two, but for wrestling in general. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan holding the gold in WWE along with Zack Ryder, Air Boom, and Cody Rhodes. And David Hero, as you join us from Karma, thank you very much for joining us here on the line. There may not have been a DWHS moment tonight, but I did notice as you were tweeting, as you do sometimes from time to time, you failed to mention who beat Booker T tonight, as all you did was mention that Booker T won. The other guy holding gold in WWE, Cody Rhodes.
Oh, Cody had a match tonight? Hold on, hold the phone. Nobody tunes into this show to listen to Dave Hero say anything because his opinion means squat. But see, on your show, with you live tonight, from Dave Hero's car and from Karma, the one and only Billy Gunn watched the pay-per-view, thought it was awesome.
I didn't know.
So you guys are out of tune too. I'm just going to take over the show. Everybody on the show is fired. It is now called the Gunn Show.
Wait, Billy, I didn't know you were going to be on the show with us tonight. Welcome, Billy Gunn, to the Pro Wrestling Report show for WWE.
Well, that's because you got Dave Hero kind of booking stuff around so he doesn't tell you when, like, big stars are coming. Not that I'm a big star, mind you, but, you know, hey, I'm on the show anyway. So what's going on? Hey, how'd you guys like pay-per-view?
Billy Gunn, big things happen on this pay-per-view. The one question for you, Billy Gunn, obviously a man who has traveled all over the world and been a part of the big wrestling organizations. Tonight, 2 Ring of Honor alumni, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, are the WWE and World Heavyweight Champions, respectively. Knowing the inner workings of WWE, knowing their feelings of Ring of Honor, what significance does that hold that those 2 men are the champions?
I have no earthly idea what significance that holds. It either says that, hey, we're in trouble and people like that, or we don't know what else to do with them. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because I never saw CM Punk in ROH, so I wouldn't know, but he's doing a great job up here, or up there, or whatever you guys are calling that place, WWE, you know, he's doing a great job there. And Daniel Bryan, I honestly, and nothing against the kid, never heard of him. Don't know him, never heard of him. Until tonight when I saw him walk out and had to go, Dave, who is that?
Wow.
So it's not, I mean, it's not against him. I just don't know him.
2 men you do know very well, though, Triple H and Kevin Nash in that Sledgehammer ladder match. Triple H winning, defeating Kevin Nash, and Kevin Nash having it seemed like maybe an injury might have plagued him for a while during that matchup. But Triple H getting his hands on that Sledgehammer. Your thoughts on that match? 2 of your friends going at it.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was kind of put together well. It was all, you know, planned out well, and it was good. I mean, once you get a sledgehammer in your hand, somebody's going to hurt. You know, so it's not very forgiving. So, I mean, it was good. Hunter did a great job of, you know, going through there, but I thought it was good. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because Kevin's really kind of hurt. You know, his knees are kind of in bad shape, but I thought they both did a great job. You know, it was really good, entertaining.
And the one thing that now that you're on Twitter, at Real Billy Gunn on Twitter, you of course know about this Zack Ryder that everybody's been talking about, the same Zack Ryder that defeated Dolph Ziggler tonight to become the new United States champion. A lot of people all over the internet world happy about that. What is your insight, your thoughts on both those competitors and that match tonight, Dolph Ziggler versus Zack Ryder?
That's the only match I was upset about, because I wanted Dolph to win. Because everybody knows he's mine and Kurt Hennig's son. No, I mean, I like Dolph Ziggler. I think he's great. He's a great talent. You know, everything he does is good. And, you know, I'm not that familiar, except Zack Ryder is an internet sensation. And whenever internet sensations start taking over the wrestling business, we got a huge problem. You know, just because everybody on the internet likes him doesn't mean that, you know, he's a big superstar. You know, but hey, props to him. They put it on him, so now he's got to carry it. So we'll see what he's made up now, but he's got to carry that, you know, carry that title around with him.
Billy Gunn, I want to say thank you for joining us down at Karma tonight, meeting all the fans, being a part of the pay-per-view. It's always good to have you in town. Hopefully you had some fun down in the PWR lounge at Karma tonight.
Yeah, we did. Actually, I want to thank everybody that came out tonight. I want to thank Karma for putting it on and having me come out there. You know, I thank Dave here, but I'm not ever going to do that, and you'll never hear that come out of my mouth. But no, I want to thank everybody that came down. You know, it was a lot of fun. Everybody was into it. I mean, you know, if everybody could have heard everybody in Karma where we were at, it'd have been even louder because they were all screaming at the TV. But you know, it was good. We had fun. It was a great way to watch. It's a great way to watch the pay-per-view. Plus, I get to watch it with a bunch of friends, except for Dave here, and you know, and it was fun. So I mean, thank them, thank everybody that showed up, and thank you all for having me on here, even though you didn't have a choice.
Oh, I think in closing, though, we'd like you to. I think there are a few people who are listening right now who might not be down with that. So,
really,
in closing, what might you have to say to them?
Well, if you're not down well with me and with the whole PWR show here, well, we just got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Billy Gunn here with a cameo on the Pro Wrestling Report post show. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining us down at Karma Live with all of our great fans. I tell you what, it pays to be a wrestling fan in Milwaukee because the Pro Wrestling Report and our great partners, including Karma, My 24 Milwaukee, and the Horny Goat Hideaway, bring you these exclusive events that you just can't get anywhere else. So if you're in the southeastern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, hell, even Indiana, Michigan, and Minnesota, and Iowa, come on over and join us for the Royal Rumble. We're going to be at the Horny Goat Hideaway, Horny Goat Brewing Company, with a big wrestling event from Great Lakes Championship Wrestling and a live showing of WWE's Royal Rumble. Always one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. And again, thanks to Billy Gunn for joining us here on the Pro Wrestling Report post show. But your calls will continue as we will go for another few moments here to try to get our last 2 callers in. And we're going to go right now to the 517 area code. Caller from the 517. What's your name and where are you calling from? Caller from the 517. Are you there? All right, let's try again. Our caller from the 913. Caller from the 913 area code. Are you there? Excellent. Well, that just allows us to keep time. Again, thank you so much for all of you who called in. In summary tonight, WWE TLC on pay-per-view from Baltimore, Maryland, a brand new World Heavyweight Champion in Daniel Bryan, who cashed in his Money in the Bank after the Big Show defeated Mark Henry to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, a new United States Champion, the Internet darling, if you will. Zack Ryder defeats Dolph Ziggler and becomes the new United States Champion. CM Punk retains the WWE Championship in a match over both The Miz and CM Punk. Triple H defeating Kevin Nash. Beth Phoenix retaining the Women's Championship. Cody Rhodes retains the Intercontinental Championship over Booker T. Sheamus defeats Jack Swagger. And Air Boom retains their WWE Tag Team Championship titles. A great pay-per-view from WWE tonight called TLC. The fallout will continue tomorrow night on Raw, and the discussion will continue tomorrow night live from the Pro Wrestling Report right here on Blog Talk Radio. So don't forget to follow the show. Just click on that link right now and follow the show and be a part of it and never miss an episode. Thanks to David Hero, thanks to Billy Gunn, and thanks to all of you for joining us here live on the Pro Wrestling Report post show for WWE TLC, where Daniel Bryan became the brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion.